Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 5 of Necropolis here at Critical Pixels. Now, I know it's been a little bit since I've actually recorded an episode of Necropolis. Part of that has been for a couple of reasons. One, I actually took a really quick vacation just because, last bit of summer and before the rush of the holiday season, which has already started in earnest, so, I'm going to keep trying to recording as much as possible. I am already, however, in the middle of handling a lot of reviews, whether that's No Man's Sky or Deus Ex or Madden or a couple of other pieces that are coming up, especially since the tail end of August really is kind of the start of the holiday season. So it's already kind of kicked in earnest. But even outside of that, one of the other things that I really wanted to do was I wanted to really take a mild break from playing Necropolis just for a little bit, primarily because I know that there was a lot of updates that Harebrained Scheme wanted to make to the game. I know that they had a few of the things that they wanted to address, given some of the comments from reviewers, mine and others, talking about elements that people didn't like, elements that they felt should have been tighter, things that should have been a little bit cleaner, handled a little bit differently. So they wanted to address certain things within the gameplay, and that's laudable considering that, given this title itself, they could have basically just walked away. They could have said, well, okay, it wasn't exactly what we were hoping for, but it still managed to do relatively well, and we'll just go there. Instead, they've actually stated that they're going to do a huge amount of updates. They've already actually started doing a few updates here and there. So one of the things that I wanted to do, I didn't actually want to spend a ton of time playing this one right now because I know that they're still technically in the updating phase. I believe right now they're about halfway through some of the updates that they want to do, and I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks approximately, they should be completely finished with the first round of updates. You can actually see a lot of the updates that they have on the Steam page, but that's everything from cleaning up some of the store interfaces to tightening up some of the monsters that you face off against, adding new characters, adding newer descriptions, cleaning up descriptions, things like that. So there's actually a lot of tweaks that they're making, not only to the base game, but also just in patching a lot of the elements that many players, myself included, really had a problem with. And for those people that just didn't really care and kind of flew through the game, they've basically tweaked it as well to hopefully make it a little bit more of a challenge. My guess is that going a little bit farther forward, they're probably going to have possibly, maybe they'll look at doing something like a slider, a difficulty slider for people that feel like it's too easy. Inevitably there's going to be the hardcore that are going to go, well, this is way too easy for me. I've played tons of Dark Souls, I've played tons of games like this, and this difficulty bores me, or they sink so much time into playing the game that it does become easy for them. And if that's the case, great. But I'm pretty sure that they still want to make it somewhat challenging for everybody, so they are going to try to amp up that difficulty for people. In the meantime, though, like I said, I don't want to spend a ton of time dedicating playtime here when there are other titles that I really want to record for the channel. I actually have an idea of one that I'm planning on bringing here probably in the next recording session, and it's one that I hadn't actually heard of, but it sounds like it could be a pretty cool game. I don't know, I haven't even tried loading it up just yet, but I have a feeling after I finish this session, I'll probably load it up and see exactly what's going on, and I'll probably bring that to you pretty shortly, probably a day or so after I upload this, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that. Right now, just to get back to Necropolis, not really seeing a ton of differences, especially on just this first level. Now, granted, part of that is kind of a bit of a letdown in a way. I don't know if there's really that much that can be said, considering that the very last round or the very last session, we managed to make it to level 4, and we were in the middle of fighting off a lot of mimics and other enemies that were really, really hazardous and really, really dangerous. So all of a sudden, just to go all the way back to level 1 is definitely a bit of a step down, if you will. But right now, you know, it's very much like what you kind of get used to with the game. Much of it just simply being figuring out where the maze happens to be, seeing what the enemies are. Oh, well, that's a lot of enemies at once. One thing that I do know that they actively tweaked was the ability for people to hit and run in and out of fights. That was definitely one of those things that people took issue to, and that was also one of those things that I know in one or two of the sessions that I recorded, you could actively see that here and there, some of the hit and run strikes that you would hope you could use as a tactic, you really couldn't, because the character responded a bit too slowly. Right now, it looks as though some of that has been remedied. Not a lot. I don't necessarily expect that it would be a ton. And technically, it shouldn't be a ton. It should just be, really, it should be more of a tactic that's used. You know, something that you can partially have and get in and out of dangerous situations. I'm hoping that I can kite these guys far enough to where I can possibly eat, because right now, yeah, I'm running a little bit low. Let's see here. Perfect. So in many ways, even that kind of highlights what a definite change would be. Let me see. Oh, no. Even he managed to block that. Okay. Perfect. But he could not block that. That's fine, because I definitely need to get some food. And I'll take the weapon too. Anyway, some of this feels a little bit faster. It's not to say that it is perfectly as fast as it should be for certain strikes, certain moves, certain situations. But you know, it does feel like the timing has been improved to a point. And again, this is still the first level, so there is only so much that you can reasonably expect. The spawning from random places still an issue, still going to be happening. I mean, kind of like what I was saying in an earlier episode, I think that to fully tone down some of those things, to fully address some of the elements that might make you go, how exactly are they really going to adjust or shift things like the random spawn issue, would almost be like a fundamental change to the nature of the game itself, and that's a bridge too far. But so far, you know, with it basically being half of the tweak, half of the adjustment, it's not too bad. I mean, let's see. Ooh, nice block there. still. Come on. Oh, wow. This guy's blocking everything. Take that, dude. Okay, so I think they actually maybe increase some stats of some characters, and I don't necessarily think that it's an exhaustion thing. I think some of it is literally that they may have adjusted or tweaked for some characters, which again, great. Definitely adds a bit more of a challenge. Really is one of those things that you hope that they would adjust for, and I have a feeling doing something like that really does add a bit more to the playability when it comes to worrying about some characters on later levels, some enemies on later levels, because you really won't know if you can handle the mad rush of 3, 4, 5 of those shield-bearing enemies. If certain pyramids are going to have mimics, ooh, I definitely will want that sword. So, you know, I think that's definitely going to be a plus, and hopefully that is the direction that things were going in. Let me go back to my inventory. Let's see, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, might as well identify some of this stuff, right? So let's see, that's a boon, health and resilience. Okay, I think that's, I don't think I've ever had that one before. Let's see, death sauce, that's just poison, I don't want that. Scroll command, freeze in place, definitely. And then vigor, always useful. So, now that I've got a larger sword, it's not exactly my boomstick, but it'll do what I need it to. Let's see. Oh, you know, this is actually one of the things that, another thing that they actively tweaked. They kind of changed and tweaked part of the layout, and looks like I have actually made it to the end of the level. I'm going to farm a bit because this is pretty quick, actually. I mean, if anything, this would basically wind up being about, I don't know, a 15-20 minute episode, and that is pretty short. So I'm going to farm for a little bit, and if need be, I will just run away. I will pull a Monty Python and get back to the other side, even if I have to kite people all the way into the tail end of an area. One of the things that I also know that they have tweaked and have been working on tweaking as well are the layouts and even kind of the scale of the layouts itself. So if you saw a little bit of the area, the background of Area 1, in the earlier stages, you really wouldn't get the sense of scale of what the Necropolis really was like. You basically have an idea that this is just a dungeon, it exists in whatever location it happens to exist in, but that's about it. Now, in many ways, you're getting a sense that this dungeon is a floor of a really vast expanse of netherrealm, of random space existing within this structure, and that the structure itself is quite vast, very large, and packs a really vast arrangement of areas, which in many ways makes the roguelike nature of the game and of the gameplay a little bit more believable. It's, oh, now this is actually, I think this is one of the, oh, crap, that is not what I wanted. I actually did not expect to have one of these guys up so early. That's one of, I don't, whoa, there's 2 of them. I don't think these are the newer characters. They might be, or their look may have changed a little bit, but it is telling that first off the bat, you run into those guys. I mean, again, it looks like they're tweaking just a bit of the formula, just enough to make you kind of look back and go, huh, that's interesting. That's not what you would normally expect, especially on level 1. You know, I may even wind up putting off diving into that other game that I was going to do, because I may want to actually explore and see what they have done in tweaking, knowing that there's still a lot more adjustments to come. That actually makes this kind of cool, kind of interesting to go back into and re-explore, just because this is only half of the updates that are coming. Let's see. Let's see here. Can I? That's right. That's right. Come on. Come at me, bro. Don't tase me. That's right, my sword's bigger than yours. Oh, now you block me. Damn you. That's it. To the rubbish heap you go. So, anyway, after recycling that guy, so far, it does seem like there are a few new tricks up the game sleeve. Still a few old ones, but it is good to know that those few little tweaks are actually making a bit of gameplay difference. That's not something that I would have necessarily expected so quickly. Just take out anybody else that happens to be following me, because it looked like there was one or two. I know that there are a few other knights. Oh, and the spawn gate. Okay, that just spawns right there. Just take out that to clear a few more bits of the pottery goal. So right now, I'm closer to getting the pottery goal for a token than I think I am for anything else. I don't think I've run into any diggers or anybody else that I really need to worry about. Oh yeah, and you don't have a shield. You're really going down. Excellent. Potion of vigor, even better. I think somebody else just spawned, but no, it's just a scavenger. Okay. So yes, so far, with the exception of the random guys that charged me right out of the gate, coming back this way, nothing too horrendous. Yeah, come on. Oh, there's a side path that way too. Okay, so I just have to. Oh no, and you called the screamer too. Really? That's why I cleave you in half. So this actually might give another sense of perspective too, with the scale. Whoa. Okay. Okay. That's just a pit. That didn't. Okay. That's a completely different layout. I have never seen a hole in the middle of a floor like that. So yeah, they are definitely messing around with the floor layouts here. At least I was able to see that, or was paying attention enough to see that instead of just charging forward, which would have obviously been ridiculously stupid, but probably would have just killed me outright. Oh. Another screamer? Where did you spawn from? So yeah, so looks like... Oh, this looks very similar to the other side. I mean, I know it's not, but it looks extremely similar. Oh, no! Yeah, just take you down before you say anything else. Okay. One more. Yep. Take him out before he does anything either. So far, this isn't going bad at all. Especially when it comes to exploring the other side. Usually that can be, or that has had the element of being a path to a very, very quick death, because the game just decides you're a little bit too greedy and you need to pay for your stupidity. Like I was saying, at least it wasn't the grind. I mean, that's the only thing I would have expected, is like it would have warped in grind randomly, but at least it didn't do something like that or decide to throw anything in. But they're now pits. Like that's kind of a crazy thing. I not only does that really affect and change the concept of the layout of some of these levels, but I mean, look at this. A lot of this semi open space feel of these levels, you previously in the past update, you were previously restricted to seeing that until you were, you know, at least level 3, level 4. I mean, you never got that kind of sense of scale. It just didn't exist. It was just kind of, we'll get into that a little bit later, but at least here, if you just even look, I mean, that kind of gives you, that kind of gives you the sense that at least the earlier levels, or even previous playthroughs, may have been some of the levels that you're seeing above or below you. Maybe some of the void that happens to exist around you that you can see in the distance, but you can't quite get to, are the spaces that other explorers have possibly tried to fight their way to or through and have failed because of everything that's gone on within this necropolis. And so it kind of impresses upon you that obviously your adventure is not the only adventure that's going on. I mean, now you're actually even getting a sense of scope, which early, and that used to be reserved. That's a really, really nice touch as well. It didn't exist before, but it like that. I mean, it just gives you a definite sense that they've really been trying to work on elements of the gameplay. They really have been making sure that it's not just a cosmetic adjustment, but it really is kind of an overall tweak to the game itself. Kind of like, okay, well, that's just annoying. Have many screamers. But they really have apparently been tweaking quite a bit. I still am wondering about some of the other adjustments, some of the other shifts to the gameplay itself. But right now, I mean, hey, in say the past half hour or so that I've been exploring and going through both sides of level 1, blatantly farming, which is one of those things that, you know, I always would say that could be a recipe for disaster. You know, I basically managed to experience exactly what the new layout looks like, see a few tweaks and additions to the enemies that they happen to have, which was kind of nice to be taken off guard. The pit like level design and also the open level element was actually really nice to see them include that earlier on. I mean, it sounds really minor. It doesn't sound like it's that much, but it actually is. It really does have a bit of an impact. So yeah, you know, in many ways, I think what I may even do is kind of split things up. Maybe go like one day on, one day off with Necropolis, and see if I can spot some of the other changes that they've talked about on the Steam page, and see if I can even point some of those out or identify some of those within additional playthroughs. I mean, I'm not going to spend a ton of additional time playing this until it's fully been updated. I think I still want to kind of focus a bit more on checking out other titles, knowing that they still have multiple weeks to go with Necropolis before they basically patch, I guess, I wouldn't even say Season 1, but let's say the first set of significant updates. But where it is now, or where it seems like it's going, it does seem like it's... you feel more resilient and you don't smell quite as bad suddenly. Alright, that's... I can't really say that I'd seen that that one before. Maybe I had and I missed it. But that did sound a bit different. And let's see, let's grab something from the little old man. My inventory is full, so maybe not. Let's check. Let's see here. Vigor, vigor, vigor. Command, rotten food. And that sure is a magic scroll. Well, okay. So, looks like I actually have a pretty decent set of items and everything going down to level 2. And we'll just trigger it, get down there, get ready to save, and we'll just call that it for a very, very short episode, which is fine, because that's really more of a quick, I guess, quick glimpse at the first round of patches for the game itself. I think the next time that we do an episode with Necropolis, try to... Oh! That's different as well. They're actually adding in monsters right before. Now, I don't know if that's a glitch or if that is supposed to be like that. But, that... Let's see, a fire sword. I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to swap the electric sword for a fire blade. That's definitely what I would like. So, anyway, I think that's basically where we're going to end it. Again, like I said, I don't know if that monster or that enemy was supposed to be there, or if that was just a glitch, but if enemies are possibly going to meet you as you're going from level to level, or you're ascending or descending, not only does that change kind of the strategy of going up and down stages and essentially having a safety valve or an escape, but you also then have to be careful, because maybe you will get swarmed, maybe you will get mobbed, maybe there is no respite between levels, and you always have to stay on your toes. That makes sense. I mean, it is a dungeon, but that is a definite tweak to the formula, and that's something to pay attention to. So anyway, that's a really quick look at you know, at Necropolis with its updates. I guess as this short episode 5 happens to be. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions about other games you'd like to see me play, you can hit me up a couple different ways. You can leave comments in the comment thread below. You can email me at critpixels@gmail.com. That's CRITPIXELS@gmail.com. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at critpixels. I'm Jeff Haynes, and as always, may all your hits be critical and all your pixels stay bright, and hopefully may all your dungeons stay as changeable as the updated Necropolis ones are. See ya!